Quad66. Got a new little build I've been trying to do a video on. And this is a build like kind of years in the making. And the reason for that is because the platform I like, my favorite, a little short there, let's see if I can show you this. My favorite absolute like drivetrain size of the build, props, motors, etc. So I really like the 2.5 inch. I like the smaller, floatier stuff. And I looked at this powertrain when I was building the Touring, which ended up getting pushed out to 122 millimeter on the frame size and going up to 3 inch, simply because with HDZero, even with the light VTX, once you throw the Nano 90 camera on there, or even the Whoop camera at the, that first version, which was the lighter one, the lightest one they made from the Whoop cameras, the 2.5 inch props just really couldn't carry it with the authority that you really need. Even with these bigger motors, so these motors are T-Motor 1104s, and I'm flying with the GemFan 2520 props. The motors are 7,500 kV, and the props are 2520, so it's a little bit, and it's tri-blade, so it's a little pitchier than like that sort of prop we were doing for a while with like the T65 bi-blades. These have a little more kick to them, need a little bit more motor than the 1103. And so now this is finally possible. Well, it was before, but on analog. But with analog, you just really couldn't see. And you can see these motors are beat up. That's why we're getting all this jello. But you can just take a look here. This isn't perfect, right? I mean, like, this would get blown out of the water by like DJI or something like that. But this is pretty damn good for like a 50, sub 50-ish gram build. So dry weight 50 grams, something that can be carried with 2.5 inch props. This is pretty damn good camera quality. And the way this works, the way you get here, is because of system integration, where HDZero put out the all-in-one 15 amp board, and that lets you get 2S to 3S on the 15 amp ESCs. And that doesn't give you a ton of overhead to push the power, but it gives you enough. It gives you enough to where we can put these bigger, big enough motors on it, spin a little bit bigger a prop, and the power is there. I showed you a couple punches over the roof there. This thing has authority. It does have power. And on this particular build, I think because of the roughness of the motors, I'm getting a little bit less flight time than what I might otherwise get, because my analog builds using an old flywheel board builds up actually to the same exact weight. So that board, though, obviously has it's not integrated, so it's got separate VTX, separate receiver. It's a really nice board, but it's just older and it's not integrated. And so at this size, you really benefit a ton from having the integrated system because of the weight savings. And so here with the integrated board from HDZero, here we are coming in lighter, just under just a gram lighter than what used to be like a super light kind of analog build from just a couple years ago, not long ago at all, really just a few years ago. So this is quite the progression in terms of the technology, and it's really brought this platform up to where I think can be a really great platform, because now you can see, because now you have this size and weight, this footprint, this weight, and you've got this really decent picture quality for what you're flying. I mean, that's pretty damn cool. It's good enough to just kind of look around at stuff, which you don't get that with analog. Analog's this kind of I don't know, cyberpunk kind of feel where it's like just green and you're flying mostly on feel. But let's bring this one in, change out this battery. So granted, I did a bunch of hovering there, but that did bring it up above 5 minutes. All right, fresh battery here. And you can see, let me show you that again. This board may have a little bit of funny stuff going on. So watch that left prop, or both props. See how they're kind of like stopping? Something about the idle is a little funny on this. So with the board, let me talk about it here. I really love, absolutely love the weight that they hit with it. The performance for, you know, what you want to do in terms of like, that's fine. Like this board isn't the board you're going to go long range with, but like I can fly it and get nice reception, you know, in kind of the spaces I would fly this size of build without any problems. And this is on, let me see, that was on 25 milliwatts. So this is, and then it flips up to 200. So that was on the 25 milliwatts. I'm not pointed the right way at all, but we can go up even, I don't want to go too far, but this is behind me pointing the wrong direction, through the house, etc. Looking good, right? So, and the board has Express LRS built in, which is, yeah, I think everybody's on it at this point in time. There's not really another radio protocol, you know, except for maybe Ghost, that really is in the range that, you know, like protocols that are worthwhile. It's pretty much, I think, Express LRS and Ghost, and that's about it. So this board does have Express LRS built in, and it's got a little just copper wire antenna. And, you know, obviously for the VTX, whatever antenna you want to put on, this is just a little whip. Actually, it's not a whip. It is, I'll show you these. These are flywoo antennas. They are a little dipole. You know, it's got the little bell thing, but super tiny, like super slim. And so I was curious about them. I saw them on their website, and, or maybe it was at Pyrodrone someplace. I don't know. Anyways, I ordered them because they looked interesting, because they looked really light, but with the dipole rather than just a straight whip. And so the reception looks fine on them. With the board though, okay, so what this board does is it lets you in camera. So this is a Lux camera, by the way. What this combination of the all-in-one 15 board from HDZero and the Lux camera, it lets you build digital builds for weights that you couldn't achieve. Like what did you want to do that couldn't carry a decent digital system? Like what builds just got, you know, kind of neutered by the excess weight? This lets you do it. I mean, I think down to whoop size, like as long as you're above a ducted whoop, you can build it, and this is you can carry it. You know, if you want to do some type of 2S build, whether it's 2-inch, 2.5-inch, and we'll see as people get brave and start to do some 3-inch builds, whether this board holds up with the 15 MPSCs. But this combination of the all-in board, all the system integration, lets you do that with very little compromise compared to the Nano 90. Uh-oh. Should have probably disarmed like 10 seconds ago. Let me grab that. I don't know why that crash surprised me so much. Why I took so long to disarm that. Kind of lost my train of thought there. Anyway, so yeah, Nano 90 camera. So this is not the super smooth 90 frames per second, but you know, the lack of latency is there. Am I gonna be able to take off? I think so. Good. Granted, my flying's gone to hell right now, but anyways, the latency, to me, something about the way this delivers the information, whether it's truly latency or maybe there's more information, but I feel like I can catch stuff that I can't on analog. So not as good as the Nano 90, but close enough to where it's still, you know, a really compelling thing to build. And it looks decent. It just, like, look at that. That just looks decent. So for this size, to me, that's like super impressive. What do we got here? Getting low on the battery again. But let's get into the downsides, because there are some. But maybe let's go ahead and let's get a third battery in, and we're going to go into some of the stuff where I think I want to go on a slight, like, it looks decent. Seriously. Tell me that does not look decent. Like, come on now. For a camera this small, camera this light, you're not gonna say that looks decent? I think it looks decent. But yeah, let's rant about it a little bit too. Let's critique things. All right, so time for my rant here. This board makes me feel a frustration that I have not felt in forever. And that frustration is what I think is such, and I'm wrong on this because, like, I'm clearly, like, not holding the popular opinion on it, but my frustration is that I think this board goes for the absolute wrong target with the build. This board is built to fit in ducted frames. It is super compact to be able to fit in ducted frames, and I think their target, whether it's like, you know, the Mob 8 size or even like Mobula 7 size, like the 75mm prop or the 80 or whatever it is size that the Mobula 8 is, they fully compromised the buildability of this board with the motor pads. The motor pads are deep. There is enough room for the wire, but it's like a concave layout. So the middle wire is like set back deeper than the outer two, like, you know, the first and third wire. And it's just miserable to build. It is so miserable to solder motor wires on. And it's like all you need is like millimeters more of board, just the tiniest bit more room, and it would be unmiserable. And I know the only reason you're doing that is because you crammed all this stuff in, and now you're trying to still cram it in between the ducts of the whoop. And it's like, it was right around that time when the frickin' like Yashin trash can, the most like the dumbest quad to ever come out. We were like finally figuring out these open prop builds, and then here comes the trash can, puts ducts on it, adds weight, makes it fly terrible, and all this stuff got stuck in this stupid whoop form factor, and it made the builds miserable. And here we are years later when we figured out, like, the reason whoops got good, it's not because we can see, you know, like the CNCdrone Hummingbird, that thing's amazing. And it's not because the camera's good, it's not because you can see, it's because it is so light and so powerful that it flies awesome. And that's what matters with like the tiny stuff. Flying well is what makes them great, not being able to see. And so instead of understanding that and just being like, okay, we're not going to try and make the visual experience of a whoop better. We're going to like leave whoops as they are and build this board out so that it is builder friendly with bigger motors. They went and shoved it into that whoop form factor, and it made for a miserable build. Like, it literally made it miserable for a build. I can say that like over and over again, and that's my honest opinion. Soldering those motors on was miserable. Once you got them on there, okay. But now here I am. So right, like, look at the vibrations from these motors. I need to change some motors out. So I got to go through that misery all over again. It's not done. So with these open prop builds, we go through motors. We got to change them out. So it's not like you can just go ahead, build it up once, paint is over, and you're good to go. It's, we got to deal with this over and over every time we need to maintain this thing. And that just kills me that we're like, what did we learned nothing. Like for COVID, we learned nothing from COVID. Like we all went virtual and figured out all these things. Like you don't have to travel, and now like, you know, you got to be back in the office, things like that. Not for me personally, because my personal job requires hands-on interaction with people. So I never had like, you know, the virtual stuff from COVID and whatnot. But like you go through these things and you learn nothing from it, and that's what I feel is like super frustrating about this board. Hopefully, which I don't know if you know, if Ryan kind of is paying attention here, like I really hope that they keep this kind of like build going, but do another one, and do one specifically for, let's get some 20 amp ESCs on it, and just do everything the same with just bigger motor pads, put some more motor pad on it, and it would be so amazing. Because I think that this setup is perfect for the, you know, 2, 2.5, 3-inch builds. This would be amazing. And I think having slightly bigger ESCs also gets you into that 3-inch realm and really opens things up and would make this like a super compelling profile. All right, this battery's gone though, so let me bring that one in. And this is a work in progress. I've got a frame designed, new canopy. I'm going to do some new things. I've got that order from CNCdrones. They'll send that over, hopefully send it shortly. But you'll be seeing all that. Until next time, cheers.